So let's take some questions. Yes?
Why was the newt not able to regenerate, like the arm to regenerate a complete newt?
I'm sorry if I didn't make it clear. The question was, why isn't the arm capable of regenerating the whole newt? Well, there are a couple of answers to that. Number one, as you'll see, an arm, as you can imagine, is a very complicated structure. Planaria are extraordinary, but they're not as complicated. The second point is that because of our complicated structure, we need nerves and blood vessels and other kinds of cells that float around our body to maintain life. And so basically it's impossible to keep that little newt limb alive long enough for it to grow back anything. But there's another reason. We think that the information that you need to grow back a limb isn't actually in the limb. And we'll get to that in the next session. Now, let's see how good I'm at this. Hand-eye coordination is not my specialty. Yes?
Could we take a newt's stem cells and implant them in a human's body, or would that, like, would the DNA not match? Or?
Well, we could do that. I wouldn't recommend it for all sorts of reasons, one of which is that we are trained as highly evolved immunocompetent organisms to reject things like newt cells unless we're in the process of eating them, which we're not going to do either. So I think to get to your question in a little more detail, the issue of whether a stem cell from one species can function in the context of another species is something that we're going to hear about a little more from Doug tomorrow. But suffice it to say that there are experiments that have been done in the culture dish where newt cells and mouse cells have been put together. And the question is, does the newt teach the mouse cell how to do some of the tricks it can do? Or does the mouse cell tell the newt cell, forget it, brother, I'm the boss here? And the answer is, the newt cell wins. So that's the exciting and encouraging thing. Yes? Sorry, I can't even throw.
When people have surgery to lengthen limbs, like when they separate the bones and then the bones grow back into them, why can't they just like put stem cells there to make, like, and when that happens, is there more muscle? Like, how does that, like, why, if there's an absence of stem cells there, then how is it growing?
Sorry, which part is growing? I didn't quite catch that.
When they separate the bones and then the bones grow back too.
Well, interestingly enough, bones are some of the most regenerative structures in our body. And they actually grow back better than muscle. So for instance, if you crush your leg in an accident and the bone is broken, your doctor will say, no problem about growing your bone back. That will heal, and it will actually form the bone as it was before, due to all sorts of signals that the bone somehow senses, much like the newt. The muscle just isn't as regenerative, and we don't understand what it is about different tissues that make it one more regenerative and another less, but we suspect that it may have something to do with stem cells. And that's the big excitement about stem cells, that if you could understand how stem cells in one part of your body can do such a great job, and your other organs don't seem to be able to do such a good job, could you use stem cells from one part of your body to cure the other? And I'm going to be talking about that after the break. I want to get someone in the back because I want to show that I can throw as well as Doug. There, that's better. Oh my God, I don't know. Somebody back there. The guy in black.
Can newts like regenerate organ systems, or is it just arms?
Newts can regenerate organ systems. Newts can regenerate an extraordinary number of different parts. And in fact, what we'll see tomorrow is another example of a highly regenerative organism, the fish, which can regenerate its fins, its tail, and its heart, as can the newt. Not the entire heart, but a large chunk. The newt can regenerate its lower jaw if you cut that off. It gets gruesome after that, but it's an amazing little organism. Oh, okay, let's take one from over there, the fellow with the blue shirt.
In the example of the newt, would there be a specific resource limit as to how many limbs that a newt could regenerate according to its resources?
What's extraordinary about the newt is that sadistic as it may seem, you can cut a regenerated limb off as many times as you can stomach the process, and it will grow back every time exactly the same way. So it appears that the newt has the whole process well sussed out and can do it exactly the same way. It's a very robust program, if that's what you meant. So it appears that there isn't some sort of a stem cell pool or some kind of a molecule that runs out after the first regenerative event. Now I've got to do some more embarrassing throws to get one over here. Yep, that's terrible. And this one, I'm going to do relay, because it's too embarrassing. Okay, let's go for the lady in light blue.
In the newt, like what triggers the stem cells to go to like a wound to form the blastema?
That's a very good question. And we believe that there are a series of acute signals that occur immediately after the wound has been created that tell the organism that there's been a traumatic event, much like a wound healing response. But that second event, in which instead of just closing the wound and remaining a stump like an amputee that would happen if my arm was cut off, there seems to be another set of signals that we would dearly love to know about. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about one of them in the second half of my talk. Now I'm afraid that's it for questions. All right.